What?
I have a question. No, but Rico, is it selfless? Or are you doing it like to get something on the back end?
No. The question was the most selfless thing your person has done for you.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? And it's a prerequisite in any relationship I'm in. You know what I'm saying? When push comes to shove, you got to be able to go all the way to a hundo. You hear me? So, like, there was a point in time, like, I'm about to give you an example. There's a point.
What is that?
I hate you.
What is that? There was a point in time, and I had recently got kicked out of college, and I was like, yo, I'm not gonna be in the streets. I'm gonna just get 2 jobs and just try to work and be an honest man, right? And I was dating a girl at that time, and I was like, but I don't got a car and I don't got bread. So what are we gonna do? So I got the job. I got both these jobs, and she would drive 30 minutes to pick me up to bring me to work before she went to work, change her work schedule so she wasn't going to be late anymore. And that was our routine. So every single morning she would drive out of her way to pick me up, then to drop me off work, then to go to work, change her schedule so then she could pick me back up off work to bring me back home. That's selfless right there. And you know what I'm saying? And that's when I was like, damn, she deserves the world.
Can I ask a question?
Don't ask no crazy question, man.
No, I just want to know how old was she?
You know what I'm saying? We was like 22. You know what I'm saying? 21.
Okay.
21.
And are you guys still together?
Yeah.
Huh?
Are you guys still together now?
Oh, nah. That's like, I couldn't work because, like, you know, when started getting popping, she started getting jealous. And because that's the problem.
But she's
When
so
somebody,
selfless.
but that's the
You
issue.
deserve the world.
But that's the issue.
The world.
Deserve and entitled is different. So when you start feeling like somebody's indebted to you for the services that you did to them, you start acting differently rather than just waiting for your blessing to come. You're trying to force your blessing to be now. And then she missed out on that, you know what I'm saying? That she on the, sidelines. But there's a couple other stories that I had that, the most selfish, the other flip end was the most selfish thing that I did was I had a great relationship and it was my first year coming into money. And prior to this, I had not have been ever financially stable in my life. So I actually started traveling, and it got to a point where I knew that my traveling was really affecting her. She was uncomfortable with it. I was going overseas, and I was just bouncing from state to state to state. And she kind of took the back burner in the relationships for me to experience life. And she actually really she dealt with that for a good 6 to 7 months. And I really admire her to this day for that because that was a selfless thing to be like, hey, look, this is somebody who came from nothing. Now he has enough to really experience life. Instead of me trying to monitor and stop him, let me allow him to enjoy his life. But then I just took it overboard, and I had caused too much damage to it for it to be rekindled by the time I was done. But I don't regret it because that made me who I am today.
No, it didn't.
Oh my god.
Piece of shit.
The way that he finished it, I don't regret it.
I don't regret it.
Really?
Yo, because the real shit is
Why'd you add that on?
because the thing
I
is
don't know why he added it.
for a long time, you know what I'm saying, I had to ask myself like, yo, so was it really worth it? Right? But then I'm like, yo, if I don't experience life, I'm never going to be happy because the way I could be fulfilled right now is at a different level than ever before. And it really is because of the upbringing. I really believe maybe if I'd been experiencing, life before, I never traveled outside of the state of New Jersey till I was like 24, 23 years old. You know what I'm saying? I've never seen nothing outside of my environment. So now when I, started to come across this money, and it wasn't no small chump change. So she was like, you know what, go ahead. She's a dope person for that.
But you just said,
On the sideline.
thank you. Like,
on the sideline.
She's not on the sideline. She got her own league. She a boss. Let her do her thing. Shout out to her.
these your words, not
Shout
ours.
out.
Just
The other one is on the sideline. She's begging to get back in.
Oh no.
interesting.
You're being disgusting.
I'm sorry, guys. My leg is up. I thought that would like kind of calm it down. Maybe it's the jeans.
No.
Tell us, what's your...
Are we really going in the line? I have nothing to say.
That's
And
terrible.
I'm like, wait, am I next in line?
You don't be
Okay,
doing
I'll
shit for
go.
people.
Jesus.
Wait, no, I'll go.
I'm not even sure if 4 more people could go, and I'm not sure that I.
Aaron,
would
go
have,
ahead. Go
like-
ahead, man.
So this is the thing. I'm going to be honest. It's hard for me to say when somebody did something really selfless for me because you don't really know why someone's doing something. It may come off as selfless, but their intent may not be selfless. It may be that so they can get something that they want later. And I'm not saying anything's wrong with that. No, like no nefarious intentions, like, nothing like that. But it, everything that we do is very transactional, and you really just can't get around that.
Yeah, but
So,
But can I disagree with you real quick?
I don't know, but I just want to get through my story.
Okay, go through your story.
but let's not downplay what they did. Like,
No, I'm not.
Ooh.
No, I'm
hidden
not.
agendas is hidden
I'm not
agendas.
downplaying what they did. I'm simply saying that I don't know their motivation for doing it. And it's okay to not know somebody's motivation for doing something. It could have been a grand gesture to me, but I don't know why they did it. It could have been just because they wanted to see a smile on my face. Or it could have been because they knew they wanted a yes from me, later on down the line. I don't know. I'm just saying I think that we have to consider that. So it's really hard for me to say when somebody was being selfless with me. In any case, when we were thinking about this, I was like, when have I, because knowing that I'm a selfish person, like when have I really gone out of my way, and it was probably to my detriment to be selfless. And it was actually when my father-in-law died, and I knew like the mental impact or like the emotional impact that it was having on me. So I'm like, surely it's gonna be worse for my husband. And just because of everything that was going on and people knowing and this, that, and the other, it was a lot to deal with. But I'm concerned about his mental health. I'm concerned about like, what he has to face, the scrutiny he has to face, like business-wise. I'm concerned about what people saying in the street. I'm concerned about all these other things that affect him. So I, specifically and intentionally took a back seat with any issues that I was having or that we were having. Yeah, I needed more communication. Yeah, I wanted us to be in a better place. Yeah, I wanted, more date nights, more affection, more this, that, and the other. But I'm like, do I really want to stir that pot right now? No, because I don't want his mental and emotional stability to be thrown off. And, I haven't lost a parent. So I can only imagine what he's feeling. So, like I said, it was probably to my detriment at the time, but I think it being to his benefit was more beneficial for us, just like as a whole, and him being I guess in the best place as possible that he could be. So there we go.
It's a law of equivalent exchange, my friend. It's a beautiful.
It's not. It wasn't an exchange
That wasn't an
because
She was
exchange.
losing, but
Like,
I agree.
I was 100%
You
losing. but
lost now to win later, so it was a balance.
No, it wasn't necessarily a win later thing. It was more so because I don't know what he's gonna do. So I just want him to be stable, to be as happy as he can, and to get through the mud. I don't know how long he's gonna grieve. I don't know how long, business is gonna be whatever it is, So and it was very public. And I think that is what made it worse. And I was just so concerned about, how it affected him. So there we go. I'm selfless.
For a time
In this
frame, I'm
episode, two
No.
examples of selfless and selfishness from Rico and Erin here, my lovely castmates, was enough. I think that I feel like that is
I
truly
actually
enough for the
Got
episode.
one now. All right, wait. Nicole has one.
No, you do.
She don't want to be alone.
She's like, I don't want to be the only one who doesn't have. Maybe I will inspire you. Maybe.
Well, Amanda's actually selfish, but go ahead.
So, as you were speaking, you mentioned like the loss of an in-law, and I'm like, okay, oh wait, I remember something that was very selfless. So the most selfless thing that has happened to me, from a partner, I guess we'll speak about relationships. A partner was I had my daughter in 2017, and in March of 2017. In April of 2017, we found out my mom had stage 3 esophageal cancer, which is like super rare, especially for Black women. It's usually like a disease that affects white men who are like heavy smokers, drinkers. So we didn't know how we were going to get through that. My mom at the time had moved from her house in south of Atlanta, Riverdale. If you guys, not Atlanta, but she'd moved from there, and she was living in Sandy
Riverdale.
Springs, and we were living in Lilburn, which is a part of Gwinnett. If you're familiar, then you understand. So it was like a long commute between those places, like 40 minutes, and we didn't know what to do. And I do have siblings, but my siblings did not necessarily step up. And my partner at the time was like, your mom can come live here. We had a huge townhouse. She came. We went through treatment. She was really sick, y'all, very, very sick. We went through treatments. I have a newborn at the time. And he was stepping. He worked like overnights, weekends. It was kind of crazy, like the industry he was in. But he was getting up at like 1 a.m. instead of 3 to go to work. to change the diaper, to give the milk, whatever, and make sure that I took care of my mom. And it was very selfless. It made me realize just how much he cared about not only myself and our daughter, but also my mother. So yeah, super appreciative, definitely for that, and I will be forever. Um, on the flip side, this is interesting. On the flip side, to
What
bring
do you
it
do?
exactly,
How did I know?
Yeah, this
exactly.
is some bullshit. Go ahead,
On
because
the
I'm about to
flip
start
on the
firing
flip
shit up.
I'm
side,
not
Almost-
taking anything away from that because
Yeah,
that's
but-
that's
it was amazing.
Yeah,
It was
that's-
a great gesture because, like, no one, like I said, my siblings, no one was like, "You can come here and I'll feed you through a tube and like give you medicine,
Mhm.
like take you to radiation every other day and chemo,
Yeah.
every week." Like, no one did that. He even took her to treatments before. It was amazing. On the flip side, the question of what's the most like selfish thing I've done, I completely uprooted my family from that same home, and we went out on our own, my mom and my daughter, and we are doing very well. At the end of the day, things don't always align like you think they're going to. And as I mentioned earlier, um, sometimes that line between being selfish and selfless, you have to make the decision for what's best for you and the majority of people around you. And so that was my most selfish decision, by far. So,
Yo,
anything, Rico.
a lot.
of course, not a lot.
Yo, cause like what I realized, ladies, is like I realized that like the fact that y'all had a hard time really thinking about a time a man has been selfless to you is wild to me. Like in my brain, right?
Yeah, you
Can I answer, Jack?
Not yet. Give me like
Let me know when I can. Okay.
I'm gonna go like this. um, Men are we come out the womb and we enter this world, and the world has said you need to be selfless if you want to be considered a man, right? And
No.
you need to understand that that's regular. This is what I mean. A man has to go to work and has to pay all these bills. That's already selfless in itself, especially depending on what type of, yeah, take as much notes as you can.
Rico
Especially
said
if-
bullshit.
Especially if you want certain type of living situations. Now, obviously, if you're going 50-50s, that's not the case for you. But if a man is already having to provide for you, that's selfless in itself. He's already extending himself. And I think that we got to start to understand that money does not just come from thin air. Money comes from hours of sacrifice. So if a man is paying that bill in that house and he has to work 40 hours a week, he has to spend 160 hours a month of his time sacrificing it to provide for you. He is automatically, innately selfless from the get-go. And if I have to change my schedule to make sure I can still be a dad at that, because a lot of men can't be dads and be providers at the same time. And he's changing his schedule so he can be a dad in the daytime, work overnight, and be a provider at the nighttime. That is crazy amount of selflessness right there.
I'm gonna go ahead and let
But
you.
And shout out to you, my brothers.
But
Who did that?
honey,
He didn't. That was his schedule already. He
what
didn't
if you
change it.
living by
All right,
yourself
well, shit,
and you have to put in
I know
those
people that
same
done did that.
40 hours and you have to make that same sacrifice whether you're in a
Can
relationship
I tell you
or
something,
not?
Amanda?
What do you
I
want to tell
got
me?
I made a lot of money when I lived by myself. I make relatively close to the same money living with a family of 4. Okay. I went from being super up to stable. Okay. So when you're providing for especially a family of 4, when you're providing for another individual, and if you have a kids, it's a different ball game. You're 100,000. Like when Christiana came up here and said $100,000 she won't date, and I was like, you're bugging. But then I thought about it, and it's like that shit is not enough if you have a real family of 4.
Can I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
It seems like a personal choice that you made. So
Mm.
it was a personal choice to take on these responsibilities.
Mhm.
So
I mean-
I just don't want it to come off as like you complaining about it, like you was like trapped or stuck in it, But it's like you wanted to be a partner, you wanted to be a dad, a stepdad, X, Y, and Z. So like
Nah,
I
that's
don't.
not. That's
No?
not the point. That's like saying you make a personal choice to be a mother. No, like
It is a personal choice.
You do.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's a natural choice. And we can't just sit here and try to say we're gonna eliminate that, hey, you make a choice to be a dad or you make a choice to be a mom. Realistically, yeah, everything is a choice.